Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are going to completely shatter your everyday perception of reality, and then we're going to rebuild it from the ground up. And listen, we aren't just talking about abstract armchair philosophy here. We are diving deep into the most rigorous, scientifically grounded theory regarding the ultimate nature of existence, building on the bleeding edge of modern quantum mechanics and evolutionary biology. If you've ever looked around and just felt, deep down, that there has to be something more fundamental going on behind the scenes of the physical universe, well, you're right. Today, we're synthesizing the incredible work of some of the world's top scientists to explore the absolute bleeding edge of modern metaphysics and the true alchemy of consciousness.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a question that, honestly, sounds totally absurd at first. What if matter is just an illusion? I know, it sounds crazy. For centuries, our entire scientific framework has been built on physicalism, this deeply ingrained idea that the universe is made of dead, unthinking matter, and that somehow, if you arrange that matter in a complex enough way, it just magically wakes up and starts experiencing things. But as we're about to see, this massive assumption is completely falling apart under modern scientific scrutiny.
For decades now, physicalism has been completely gridlocked by what philosopher David Chalmers famously coined back in 1995 as the hard problem of consciousness. You see, mapping the physical mechanics of the brain, that's relatively straightforward. We can do that. But explaining the actual, undeniable feeling of experiencing the color red, the warmth of the sun on your skin, or the taste of chocolate, what philosophers call qualia, is an impossible mystery under a strict materialist framework. I mean, why should physical processing in the brain be accompanied by an inner, subjective experience at all?
This really highlights the complete dead end of our current scientific paradigm. On one side, we have what we call the easy problems: tracking electrical signals, modeling behavioral functions, mapping structural information, all the physical stuff. But on the other side, we have the hard problem, the actual inner meaning, that vivid, conscious experience hiding inside that physical matter. Trying to squeeze subjective consciousness out of purely quantitative physical data is literally like trying to extract the concept of a circle from a pile of rocks. It just doesn't compute.
So what does this all mean? Well, if matter cannot possibly produce mind, maybe, just maybe, we have the relationship completely backward. This requires a radical paradigm shift. We have to extend beyond neuroscience and philosophy directly into epistemology. Think about it. If deterministic physical laws can't yield intrinsic experience, and if information alone has absolutely no meaning without an experiencer, we have to rethink the very foundation of reality. What if matter isn't the fundamental building block of the universe at all?
Enter cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman. This is where evolutionary game theory steps in and totally wrecks our standard assumptions. Hoffman formulated something called the fitness beats truth theorem. And get this, it mathematically proves that natural selection actually drove true perception to extinction. In thousands of computer simulations, organisms whose perceptual systems are tuned purely for fitness payoffs, survival, always, absolutely always, outcompete organisms that are tuned to perceive objective reality accurately. The probability that human senses perceive the true objective structure of the world is mathematically driven to zero. Zero.
To really grasp this, Hoffman uses a brilliant metaphor, the interface theory of perception. Your perception of space, time, and physical objects isn't the real world. It's just a 3D computer desktop. The everyday physical objects around you, they are merely file icons. Just like a little blue rectangular folder icon on your computer screen hides the mind-boggling complexity of binary code and magnetic voltages, our senses hide the true complexity of reality to keep us alive. I mean, you don't want to see the underlying quantum code if a tiger is chasing you, right? You just need a simplified, easy-to-read icon of a tiger so you know to run away.
This leaves us with a seriously mind-bending truth. As Hoffman puts it, our perceptual experiences do not match or even approximate the properties of the objective world. They just provide a simplified, species-specific user interface. Let that sink in. The physical universe isn't the fundamental reality. It is literally just an evolutionary virtual reality headset we wear to survive. Space and time aren't pre-existing containers that we live inside of. Instead, space, time, and matter are simply the data format of our specific biological headset. They are constructed entirely by consciousness.
But wait, if we strip away the physical icons on our desktop, if we actually take off that evolutionary VR headset, we are left with a massive, haunting question. If physical matter is just an interface, what is the supercomputer running the simulation? What is the actual objective reality that we are navigating through in the dark?
To find out what's running the system, we turn to physicist Bernardo Kastrup. Working with frameworks developed at CERN, so we're talking serious physics here, Kastrup formulated analytic idealism. It is a highly systematic, empirically responsible philosophy arguing that the universe is essentially one giant, unified field of subjectivity. He calls it mind at large. In this view, reality is fundamentally mental. Yes, there is an objective world out there, but that world is itself experiential. Consciousness isn't some weird emergent byproduct of the universe. It is the fundamental fabric of the universe itself.
I absolutely love how Kastrup frames this. He notes that the world is not in your mind, but your mind is in the world. We aren't separate, isolated physical entities just walking around a dead, empty universe. Instead, we are localized experiential whirlpools within a grand, transpersonal river of consciousness. The river is the universal mind, and you, right here, right now, are a specific, dynamic swirl within it.
Now, you're probably thinking, okay, if we're all one giant cosmic mind, why don't I know what you're thinking right now? How do we explain our separate egos? It's a great question. To make sense of this chemically and mechanically, Kastrup uses the medical concept of dissociative identity disorder, or DID. In DID, a single human mind can literally fragment into multiple, distinct personalities, or alters, each with its own completely private inner life. Kastrup argues that the exact same mechanism applies to the cosmos. You, me, every sentient being, we are simply dissociated alters experiencing reality from within one universal mind. Your physical body and brain, that's just what this cosmic dissociation looks like from the outside.
This top-down approach is a total game changer because it elegantly solves one of philosophy's biggest headaches, the combination problem. You see, standard panpsychism claims that fundamental particles, like quarks, have tiny bits of consciousness, and they somehow build up to create human consciousness. But how do trillions of microminds combine into one unified you? It's a huge issue. Cosmopsychism, which Kastrup's model totally aligns with, works entirely top-down. We start with one cosmic mind and fragment it downward through dissociation. By starting with unity, it completely avoids that impossible combination problem. Boom, solved.
All right, let's take a breath and recap. We have a cosmic mind at large, and we know the physical world is just an evolutionary interface. But to complete our master theory of modern metaphysics, we need to understand the underlying physics. How does internal meaning actually drive external mechanics? How does a universal mind physically interact with itself at the absolute foundational level of reality?
The final, incredible piece of this scientific puzzle comes from Federico Faggin. And get this, he is the engineer who literally invented the first commercial microprocessor. So he knows intimately that computers in classical physics cannot produce meaning or experience. Working alongside physicist Giacomo Mauro Diario, Faggin developed quantum information panpsychism. This theory grounds consciousness directly into the fabric of quantum mechanics, proposing that quantum fields themselves are conscious entities possessing interiority, identity, and free will.
The crucial distinction to make here is between external and internal reality. In physics, pure information, like bits and qubits, has absolutely zero meaning without an experiencer. I mean, a computer manipulates symbols, but it doesn't understand them, right? Faggin argues that consciousness is the internal reality that gives qualitative meaning, the qualia, to the external information of the physical world. The symbols, the particles, the math, they only exist so that conscious entities can communicate and essentially come to know themselves.
So, in Faggin's model, the collapse of the wave function isn't just some random probability or static. This is a serious interpretation of quantum information theory, where the collapse is actually the active free will decision of a conscious field creating reality from a state of pure possibilities. Which means your physical body isn't generating consciousness. It's merely a quantum classical informational avatar. What you truly are is a conscious entity existing in a vaster reality beyond space-time, controlling this physical structure top-down.
Okay, let's pull all of this together into our ultimate unified grand synthesis of reality. First, from Bernardo Kastrup, we have the universal mind. Reality is a singular, cosmic consciousness, and we are its disassociated alters. Second, from Federico Faggin, we have the quantum substrate. This mind communicates with itself through conscious quantum fields exercising real free will. And third, from Donald Hoffman, we have the user interface. The physical universe of space, time, and matter is just a simplified evolutionary dashboard that hides this mind-blowing mental reality just so we can survive.
And there it is. This framework finally provides the most elegant, scientifically robust answer to the hard problem of consciousness. We've just been trying to solve the problem backward this whole time. We've been agonizing over how dead matter creates consciousness. But the truth is, matter never had to invent consciousness because consciousness invented the concept of matter to interact with itself. The physical brain doesn't generate your mind. The physical brain is just what your conscious dissociation looks like when it's rendered on the user interface of another conscious agent.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this profound thought. If space, time, and even the device you are watching this on right now are just simplified icons on an evolutionary dashboard, what does it truly mean to be you? You are not some tiny, insignificant cog in a cold, dead mechanical universe. No way. You are an essential, conscious fragment of the cosmos experiencing itself, adding novel meaning to reality with every single feeling and choice you make. I urge you to rethink every single thing you experience today as the ultimate self-reflecting alchemy of the universe. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep questioning the interface.